Right, so end of the day, we've been testing Ascari all day, the new GT Radial SportActive. We're currently in a TTS, one of the new ones, on the GT Radial, which is driven on the Toyo. Earlier in the day, we have had the GT Radial against Maxxis on Golf GTIs in the wet, where the GT Radial felt to be the better tyre in the wet. It was a more balanced tyre, had a bit more grip, less understeer. It was the nicer tyre. Although the caveat from that was the small section of dry handling we did, the Maxxis was a little bit better, but we won't talk about that. For the dry handling in Mini John Cooper Works, we had a Kumho KU39 Sport. I think it was the KU39. I'll double check that and put it in the comments. And the GT Radial was a much better tyre. There was night and day difference on corner entry, understeer, and sort of mid-corner transient behaviour when you're either lifting the throttle or on the brakes. The GT Radial, you could alter the line, whereas the Kumho would just push, understeer. And to finish the day now, we're in the nicest car of the three. We're in a TTS, a new one, a lot less understeer than I'm used to in previous generation TTSs. And we've been against the Toyo T1 Sport. And surprisingly, I prefer the GT Radial still. The overall grip's broadly similar. I would say perhaps the Toyo has it ever so slightly, but what you get with the GT, which you didn't get with the Toyo, is a very sharp turning and a kind of linear weighting to the steering. So as it's loading up, the steering keeps the same weight, so you're not really left guessing, whereas the Toyo was very light on the corner entry, which is probably good for overall comfort on the road. But then as it loaded up, it got heavier and heavier, then it was pushing a little bit more, so you lost a little bit of the balance. So I think the point they were trying to prove with the Toyo is that it's every bit the tyre, the GT Radial is every bit the tyre the Toyo is. And the Toyo is a very well regarded, more expensive tyre. So the fact GT Radial have managed to produce a tyre that's in the dry every bit as good as the Toyo, in the wet as good as the Maxxis, which is a more direct competitor, or better than the Maxxis, and then again in the dry on the Minis, a much better tyre than the Kumho. It's incredible. They're proving their point that GT Radial are a Chinese brand, but they shouldn't be packaged with the other budgets. They're a Chinese brand with European R&D. They've got over 300 staff in many different countries, and they're making good products now. They've got R&D centres in Hanover in Germany, which is where Continental are based. They're doing everything right, and they've been very brave to launch the tyre as they have and put it up against the Toyo and the Kumho. The Maxxis, okay, probably not the best competitor in the world. They're starting to make very good tyres though, Maxxis, but they're not as well rounded and regarded as Toyo and Kumho. So to be up against the Toyo and Kumho and to outshine the Kumho in the dry completely, and to be objectively probably on par with the Toyo in grip wise, and then subjectively, for my preference, a little bit better, it's an impressive tyre. So yeah, GT Radial, they're starting to do things right. Long may it continue.